Paul, we're going to debut a new segment of yours. It's called Feeling Fine. Let's start with Clemson. What has to happen for Dabo Swinney to be feeling fine at the end of this season?
Well, I think he needs to get to the playoffs again and maybe make a serious run. Last year, they snuck in. I mean, I say they snuck in because they won the ACC Conference Championship game against SMU and probably robbed Alabama of a berth that probably really didn't even deserve. But this year, with Kate Klubnik at quarterback, I think expectations are through the roof in Death Valley, and I strongly believe they'll make a serious run at the title.
How about Alabama entering year 2 of the Kalen DeBoer era? What do he and the Crimson Tide have to do in order to be feeling fine at the end of the season?
Well, they have won the offseason. They have recruited at an elite level.
Their new look team for Deion Sanders at Colorado. What has to happen for the Buffaloes to be feeling fine at season's end?
Well, I think they need a good season. Last year was disappointing at 9 because I think people expected a playoff run with 2 of the generational players of all time. This year, I think 7 or 8 would be a good season. A bowl game would probably be icing on the cake, and maybe keep Deion Sanders around as opposed to all the rumors that have him going elsewhere.
All right, well, Deion did speak yesterday during Big 12 Media Day, and he was asked about losing Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders to the NFL, and he thinks Colorado is going to be just fine.
We won't have those 2 phenomenal players, but we will have a phenomenal team. We're not as good individually, but we're better collectively.
Okay.
It's easier for me, man.
Okay, why?
Because I don't have to be 2 things. I don't have to be the father and the coach.
Yeah.
Now I can just be the coach.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who's ever coached their kid understands a little bit, I think, about that feeling. Greg, can Deion win without those star players that he's had ever since he got to Colorado?
Then he can, and I think what was lost last year, and what was, I think, a pretty good season. I know Paul said it was somewhat disappointing. I would actually quite take the other side, because last year they made such progress on both offense and defense. They improved by 6 points a game offensively and improved by 12 points a game defensively. And it was more than just Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. Now, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter probably worked 2 or 3 games. No doubt about it. Now it's about making sure that the other aspects of the team that improved greatly from year 1 in the prime era to year 2, now those are going to come to the forefront, and more of an onus and an emphasis will be highlighting those constant improvements. So I think they're going to be pretty solid and competitive in what is a very deep and competitive Big 12.
Paul, he's had Shedeur Sanders, he's had Travis Hunter sort of ever since he's kind of come on the scene as a coach. So without those guys, is this a prove-it year for Deion?
I don't think Deion really has anything left to prove. They may not have made the playoffs, which was unrealistic in some respects last year, but they proved that they are a very high-quality team, something I frankly didn't think was possible when Deion got there in this short a period of time. So I think saying that Deion Sanders needs to prove anything is wrong. I just think he needs to show some consistency and get this program, as he said, more of a collective unit, because the 2 stars are gone. But can he coach good players as opposed to exceptional players, one of whom was his son? That's the question.
Well, we'll find out. Greg, when you look at Colorado this year, what do you think would qualify as a successful season for them this year?
I think they get to the postseason, Dan. I mean, I really look at it, and as much as obviously a lot of what you guys do on Get Up is NFL coaching and winning in the margins, third down, red zone execution, turnovers. It's not like the SEC and the Big Ten where you have the juggernauts at the top and the team a way to get to 500 in the Big 12 and get to the postseason. I think that'd be a tremendous success in year 3.
All right, well, while the new look Buffaloes were obviously a major source of the questions that Deion faced at Big 12 Media Days, he also was asked about college football in general and had some interesting things to say about the potential for a salary cap. Take a listen.
I wish it was a cap. You know, like the top of the line player makes this, and if you're not that type of guy, you know you're not going to make that. That's what the NFL does. So the problem is you got a guy that's not that darn good, but he could go to another school and give him $500,000, and you can't compete with that. That don't make sense. All you have to do is look at the playoffs and see what those teams spend. and you understand darn near why they're in the playoffs. It's kind of hard to compete with somebody who's giving $25-30 million to a darn freshman class.
Paul, I feel like they just started letting these guys get paid, period, and now Deion wants to cap it. What do you think he's right? What do you think?
Well, he's not the only one who would like to put a cap on it, but right now there's so many issues in college football that getting to a cap, it may happen one day, but I think they need to solve some more basic problems first. I mean, I just love Deion for a lot of reasons, but especially how he just changes the narrative depending on who is on his team. I mean, those two guys that he had last year, Shedeur and Travis, could have left and broken everybody's bank and would have had he not had that hold over them. So I just think Deion needs to stick to coaching football. Let the college football leaders screw up the game the way they have already.
What do you think, Greg?
It's just unrealistic at this point. I do think at some point there'll be donor fatigue. I do think at some point there will be more parameters in place. And I'm cautiously optimistic that there will be competitive balance across the college football landscape. But the reality is college football has never been fair. It's like the Major League Baseball. That's what it is. I mean, we don't live in a salary cap world in college football. Those with resources that can spend win. The good news is, just like in baseball, the Yankees don't win the World Series every year. The Tampa Bay Rays, who have one of the smallest payrolls, compete in the playoffs regularly and are at times much better than those of their big spending counterparts in the Red Sox and the Yankees. So I think college football, yes, it's nice to have resources, but it can also work against you. Texas has just one national championship since 1970, and they have the deepest pockets in the land. So I think that, yes, it's nice to have money, but at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily always equate to success on the field.
Good stuff from Paul and Greg. Much more from you guys. Don't go anywhere as we move along on Get Up. But we're going back to the NFL now because Greg said so. Time for a segment called Bill's Skills. Barnwell put together a list of every team measured on-field performance by skilled players, so wide receivers, running backs, tight ends. Focuses on elite players and a team's top 5 contributors. And here are the top 5 teams on Bill's list of skill position rankings. You see the Super Bowl champion Eagles there at number 1, Lions, Bengals, 49ers, Rams. So interesting list. And I guess just to clarify, not quarterback, no, not offensive line, no, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. So the Bengals sitting there at number 3. Offense was unbelievable last year. They still missed the playoffs. Does this matter if the defense doesn't improve?
It means absolutely nothing if the defense does not improve, because we saw Joe Burrow was an MVP caliber quarterback last year. Jamar Chase was the number 1 wide receiver in football. Davis was hurt, but when he was healthy, he was phenomenal. Chase Brown was excellent. They got great work out of their playmakers, and it meant nothing because the defense was atrocious. No team has won a Super Bowl with a below-average scoring defense since the 2011 Giants. You need to have that to survive in the modern NFL. And without Trey Hendrickson, they might even be worse on defense than they were last season.
Nick, it wasn't that long ago the Bengals were in the Super Bowl. The following year in the AFC Championship game, it starts to feel like maybe it's moving backwards a little bit. Is Burrow's Super Bowl window closing?
I mean, I think Joe Burrow's the one that said the window is his career. So I don't think if his career's not ending soon, I think he's right that his window's not closing soon. But the key point, as much as we focus on Joe Burrow in this offense and how great they are, the key point is the one that Bill already made, is the defense. They're going to have to get to the middle of the pack at least. You're not going to be able to be competitive consistently and win 2 or 3 or 4 playoff games in a row if you can't rely on your defense to make some stops every now and then. And you may not even make the playoffs, as they saw last year, no matter how incredible your quarterback is, if your defense can't find a way to get some stops.
New defensive coordinator in Cincinnati, but they got to get some edge rushers signed if they're going to do what they want to do on defense. Let's move down Bill's list a little bit into the 20s. Here are the teams Bill has ranked 21st through 25th. You see there the Steelers, Chargers, Broncos, Saints, and Bears. Last season, you had the Steelers skill position group ranked 27th, so I guess this is better. Can Aaron Rodgers elevate this group to better than 21st best team in the league?
No. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was not elevating anybody outside of maybe Alan Lazard last year. He elevated perhaps a tiny bit. I mean, this is a new group of players. Aaron Rodgers famously has had a rocky relationship with receivers he doesn't already know. So you're maybe in a adjustment period heading into the season. I think this has to be about the running game, about the offensive line, which is very young and improving, and about DK Metcalf, who is going to have to be a guy who has a season more like that breakout year he had a few years ago. He hasn't been at that level since then. I think he needs to be a superstar for them to thrive. What do you think?
How you got to be unfair to Aaron Rodgers? Last year, he elevated Nathaniel Hackett to OC, and that went great. That went great, Bill. Yeah, well, so no, he's not going to elevate very much, except he can get rid of the ball quickly. Russell Wilson's big problem last year was he was trying to be old Russell Wilson, taking forever to get rid of the ball. Aaron Rodgers knows who he is now, and he knows the limitations of his game. You saw that in how quickly he got rid of the ball last year. He's just going to get the ball in the hands of his playmakers, like the 2 tight ends he has, DK Metcalf. So